So good morning everyone, welcome to the morning after show, the morning after the night before, or the morning after the day before. Obviously an early kickoff yesterday against West Brom, 12 o'clock. And what was probably up there with the most frustrating games I've endured as a Newcastle United fan. Obviously revealed that my Newcastle United sort of love affair started in probably, I would say, I don't know, back end of the 05-06 season, when I was given a Newcastle shirt by a family member, and that was it. So it's been a while, but that was, in terms of raw frustration, that was probably the worst it's ever been, because we'll go into it in a minute, but there just seemed no desire to win from the manager, from the team, from everyone at the Hawthorns yesterday. There was just no desire to win. Well, I'm just going to run through the players. It's not a player ratings video as such, but just to give a bit of context to it. So Dubravka didn't have a lot to do, did he? Let's be honest, didn't have a lot to do. I thought the whole back five were good. Dubravka didn't have to be good because he had nothing to do, because the four defenders. Three of the four defenders, were very, very, very good, I thought. Start from the left, no, start right back, let's get out of the way. Emil Kraft, I thought, was absolutely atrocious yesterday. And I've seen on some people online saying that, he was defensively good, he wasn't good going forward. I thought he was abysmal, atrocious, horrific in every facet. I've never seen it's well documented, in the fullback areas, if you're not very good at passing, you get exposed quickly, because generally you have, and obviously modern day football, there's a lot more pressing from the front. But as a fullback, you generally have a lot more time on the ball than, say, a midfielder or a centre-back or a striker. But every time he got it, he either kicked it or passed it straight to a West Brom player or smashed it skyward. And I'm not just on about that volley from the corner, which was probably still orbiting the fucking moon now. But there was one half decent cross, I'll give him credit for that. But he didn't look comfortable. He got turned and left behind by Matty Phillips time and time again. He's not quick. He got a shit touch. He weak. The amount of times I saw him getting shoved off the ball, and there's one time in particular in the first half, I can't remember who it was, but he won the ball, went forward, and then just got so easily dealt with. And it's just like, Christ, you're meant to be a defender. But it's just terrible. In what was a winnable game, he was terrible. And the fact that you're playing, this is why it was, we've only got one right back at the club. In fact, I'll come back to this. No, I'll have to go for it now. You've only got one right back at the club who was fully fit, so you have to play him. I get that. But no, this is going to sound like a slight and Paul Dummett. It's not, because I thought he was really good yesterday, apart from attacking, which is the point. If you have to play Kraft because he's the only right back, why play an equally poor attacking left back? Dummett was brilliant defensively. But why have two defensive fullbacks and then play a defensive midfielder, a creative midfielder who didn't do a lot of creating but was very hard working yesterday, a midfielder who offers absolutely nothing? So we're already, 8 players down in terms of attackers. Whatever. Kraft was shit. Jamal Lascelles, I thought he was good. Only think of one time really where it was a fairly simple defensive header and he headed it straight up in the air. But he was physical, fairly quick, read play well, good headers generally, some solid tackles, good from corners. Yeah, I thought Lascelles, it's good to see Lascelles having not 1 or 2 games where he's 10 out of 10 man of the match, but consistent 7s, 8s now. Getting back into that form he was 2-3 years ago. It's nice to see. It's nice to see. And particularly if he plays well against Villa, I'll do a separate little video, because I did a video at the start of the season sort of questioning what the hell was going on with him. So yeah, I will do that. Kieran Clark alongside him, I thought was man of the match. Again, online, some of the online channels, people were saying that he was okay. I thought he was fantastic yesterday. Brilliant. He was always there with the interception, or the last tackle, or the sliding challenge, or stopping the cross, or reading the game, or the vital header. If he scored that header in the second half, things would be different. He would be glorified, but for some reason he's not getting the credit. I don't know why. I thought he was really, really good. Paul Dummett, defensively solid, some great tackles. He slept over in the first half, but that happens to everybody. Great tackles, good covering, always willing to receive the ball. His balls forward weren't always great, but he was always, I don't mind that so much, because we know this is Paul Dummett, but he was always willing to receive. He didn't shy away from it. Attacking offered nothing, but well, there was a few good sort of dummy runs and a few good overlaps, but they got ignored. Onto the midfield again. I'll get the crap out the way. Jeff Hendrick, no point you playing, mate. You were crap. Offered nothing. Nothing defence. Like, if he played like he did against Everton, I could see, because he played well against Everton, I could see his justifying his inclusion, but he offered nothing going forward. One or two little passes, but they were always like, get it from the throw in, give it to the nearest person. Pointless. Jonjo Shelvey, creatively, not a lot. That corner routine in the first half, that was always going to be difficult to keep on target. But he did. It was difficult to score from, sorry, but he kept on target. Wasn't himself in terms of his demeanour, which was a good thing, because he charged about the pitch, he covered, he busted a gut every time he had to, which was nice to see. Remember one time we got picked up on commentary, they sort of really praised him for busting a gut, but it was a simple pass that he gave the ball away in the first half. So it was like, well, if you make that pass, you don't have to do it. But regardless, he gave the ball away and he charged back like 30 metres to shove one of their players off the ball. And he worked really, really hard. Like I said, it wasn't a usual Jonjo Shelvey creative performance or nice passing performance, but he worked hard. Isaac Hayden shoved out to the left of the midfield three. Was okay. A few good tackles, good passes. Again, didn't shy away from the ball. Got forward quite a lot, especially in the second half. He was almost as a left winger, which it got picked up on commentary. It was Ryan Fraser had the ball and Isaac Hayden sort of made a run and got in his way. But again, that's inexperience. He's a central defensive midfielder who's been asked to play centre back, right back, and now left wing apparently. Joe Willock, first half, class. Really, his quality really he shines in our team, because none of our midfielders have got what he's got. Faded a bit in the second, but I think in the absence of Mickey Almiron and Callum Wilson, I think he can play that sort of false nine position if Bruce still refuses to play a striker up front. Good. He was good. Fraser, again, first half good, second half faded. He looks like a winger who's got no one to pass to. No one was making the right runs for him. I get the feeling if Callum Wilson was playing yesterday, he would have scored a couple just through Fraser. Got the ball in the box quite a lot. A few good crosses. Not all of them were great, but it was better. Corners were generally pretty good. Looked neat and tidy. Took people on. Just we need more of it. Who else? Joe Linton. Joe Linton was our best attacking player, I thought. One of his better games. That situation where, looking back, he should have shot and he cut it back. I think that was just fear of criticism of missing. He didn't back himself. He thought, I better give it, better pass it. Because let's be honest, if he'd have shot and skied it, we would have been like, why didn't he pass it? But it was easy for the defender to cut it out. But he was physical, he was strong, he was an outlet. He played well. I thought he did well. Right, getting to the main gripes, it's ironic that Matt Ritchie created all that drama for calling Steve Bruce a coward when that word perfectly embodies everything about yesterday. There was no guts, there was no balls, there was no courage. Certain players played well, but in the lineup, the selection was devoid of any real attacking threat. Bruce said all week that it's not a must-win game, and it absolutely was. It absolutely was. Because look at Fulham now, 1 point behind us. It should be 4. Where we've gone above Brighton. We could have been not clear of them, but, you know, West Brom were crap. West Brom didn't... they controlled the game at times, but they didn't threaten our goal much. They're a championship team, and sadly so are we. You know, that game was crying out for Murphy to play, for Gale to start, you know. Start a striker. It beggars belief, because as good as Joe Linton was, he should not have been anywhere near that starting lineup. Let's have it right. If you want to play this weird 4-3-1-2, which, you know, on a pitch is what, 25, 30 metres wide? More than that, it's about that fucking wide. It's so narrow, against a team who you know are going to get wide and get balls in the box. It's ludicrous. But if you're going to play that formation, the two up top you've got, so it's 2 strikers, and imagine the 4-4-2, that's the sort of parameters, those 2 up top. You've got a winger, and then a player who we don't really know where he plays. He's a wide forward. With 2 strikers, 2 proper strikers on the bench. It's fucking lunacy. We could have done the 4-3-3 with Gale in the middle and Murphy out wide. There's some people that argue that Gale doesn't suit that system, but for fuck's sake, we just need something. We just need a goal threat on the pitch. Or we could have done, like I said earlier in the week, the 4-4-2. Gone defensive in the midfield, had Fraser on one wing, Murphy on the other, and then gone for Carroll and Gale up top. I guarantee, sorry, low battery there. I guarantee at least one of them would have had a clear and obvious chance. But and Bruce, I haven't got the fucking patience to read or listen to what he said, but I have heard that he said, you know, we haven't lost today. It was a poor game, and it was a poor game. It was boring as fuck. If I wasn't a fan, I would not have expected any neutral to watch that. It was shite. But just it just didn't look like they wanted to win the game. And I'm going to point fingers at the players as well. Just didn't look like any of you wanted to win the game. You know, everybody looked like they didn't want to lose. And I'm looking at Kieran Clark class in defence, Jamal Lascelles class in defence. Damn it. Hayden was okay. Shelvey busting a gut, but there was no balls going. There was no like courage going forward. There was no urgency. That's the main thing. There was no urgency. And you see it on Twitter and all that. So Fulham went to Anfield and looked like a team fighting for their lives. We went to the Hawthorns and just looked like a team who just didn't want to lose. Okay. We've not let West Brom, our direct relegation competitor, gain any ground on us. But we've let Fulham. I mean, I'm fairly certain West Brom will go down. But we could have dead and buried them yesterday. Right, let's try and get some positivity. Also, quickly, he only made 2 subs. We've got 3 available. You don't have to pay for them. You're not going to get fucking, you know, it's not like phone a friend on fucking Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. You've only got so many chances. You get 3 subs every game. Let's use them. He brings off Jeff Hendrick with 50 odd minutes and brings on Dwight Gale. Positive change. We were already getting done over in the midfield, overrun in midfield, because, let's be honest, Jeff Hendrick, when you play with Jeff Hendrick and you start in 11, you're down to 10 men because he's fucking useless. He doesn't do anything. But it was, you know, you lose. So we could have had someone keeps walking past the window. Should have had another midfielder in there, really. But Brought a striker on. We haven't played the striker all game. Not going to criticise that because we were crying out for a proper striker. Then the second substitution. Who came on? Who came off, rather? I can't remember. I know Andy Carroll comes on. I can't remember who for. With 35, when he crossed on that one onto the pitch, there was 35 seconds left. Now, I can only imagine he's thrown him on to defend a free kick or something. You know, an extra head in the box. But there was no free kick at the time. And then Carroll, ironically, as if to justify his inclusion, gave away a free kick. But I threw the remote at the ball at that point. I thought, got 2 strikers on the bench. This is a win. Maybe not a win, a must-win game in terms of the points. But who else are we... This is our best opportunity to pick up some points, probably until we play Sheffield, which is the penultimate game of the season, or Brighton in a couple of weeks' time. But it's West Brom, they're the second worst team in the division, and we don't even try and beat them when we desperately need to claw away from this relegation zone. Right, positivity. We didn't lose and we kept a clean sheet. That's it. That is it. We got Villa on Friday. Woo, can't wait. Last time we played Villa, they didn't have to get out of second gear to beat us. Comfortably 2-0 without breaking sweat. If we play like we did yesterday against them, it's probably going to be the same story, because although we defended well, we're not going to pose a goal threat. I mean, who's going to score our goals? If we're going to start with Joelinton, Fraser up top together, neither of them are strikers. I mean, I think that was clear and obvious, particularly when Joe Willock had that shot from an angle. He was driving into the right-hand side of the box, and Ryan Fraser was like running across him because he's a winger. He's trained to run wide. If he was a proper striker, he would have peeled off, creating a bit of space, brought a defender with him. Willock could probably have had a lot more chance of scoring. We need to start playing Dwight. I know I bang on about Dwight Gale like he's fucking Ronaldo. I know he's not a Premier League player, but on his day, on his best day, he is, and he's capable of scoring Premier League goals. I mean, he showed that in the back end of last season. Scored against Bournemouth, scored against Villa, scored against Liverpool. You know, give him time. Start him. Let's have Carroll and Gale up top against Villa. Carroll can have a go at Tyrone Mings. I hope Jack Grealish isn't playing, because Jack Grealish will tear Emil Kraft a fucking new one. But yeah, I'm going to wrap it up there. That was, to sum it up, defensively that was solid. It was impressive. But in terms of a team that's fighting to stay in the Premier League, which we are, that was disappointing, gutless, rudderless, cowardly, frustrating, submissive. That was. It was gutting. It wasn't the same sort of gutting in. Do you remember 2 seasons ago when we went 2-0 up at Old Trafford and then lost that game? That felt like we lost the cup final. So it wasn't that same emotion. It was just so. It was like, do any of you fuckers want to win this game? Like, the manager, like, I can understand setting up to play someone on the counter-attack, even if it's West Brom, because we're away from home. And okay, we kept them in the bottom 3. They haven't gained anything on us. But it's just like, have a bit of fucking pride. Have a bit of ambition. Have some standards. We're better than fucking West Brom. You should be. Should be trying to be better than West Brom, surely. But no, we're just happy just to equal them. Fucking shithouses. Right, I'm calling it a day. See you later.